One of the main reasons for doing these videos is that it's one of the ways I've got of taking a break from the psychiatrists that are involved in my day-to-day existence. It's a good one, for the most part. A good way of doing that. And today, I've been looking up a few things. I ordered a film called The Cotton Club, primarily so I could see a range of black people who weren't a limited set of black people, sort of thing. And then I looked it up, and it's not a black cast. So I may not watch it. So what I did do is I thought back to a film that I thought was a great laugh, that I watched, I think it was in the 80s, maybe the 90s, but I think it was the 80s. Yeah, I think it would have been the 80s. And the only actor I could remember in it was Harry Belafonte. I couldn't remember the rest of the cast. I thought it was an obscure cast, but looking at it, it was on YouTube. I discovered it wasn't an obscure cast. There's some quite prominent actors in it. I hadn't recollected that. But yeah, I mainly skipped through the film and concentrated on the performance of Harry Belafonte, and it was hilarious. It really was. And that sort of got me thinking about his song Deo, which apparently was from the second half of the 1950s. I'd later look up the emergence of the civil rights movement in the 50s. And it sort of started to come about in the mid-1950s. Though there wasn't much that I found out about the thinking involved in it. Just a number of events connected to it. And even though Belafonte's record Deo apparently links to Caribbean life, the song, in my interpretation, sort of captures the dissatisfaction with the life of the life of black Americans, many black Americans, I'd have guessed, at that time, or at least many prominent Americans at that time. Sort of something I've talked about in the past, a sense of dislocation, a sense of that they, I'm guessing they had, because of segregation and racism, of not having full access to American life, to life in their country, and an idealised sense of the mother continent, Africa. Deo is popularly called the banana boat song, and bananas are primarily grown in Africa, as far as I'm aware. And yeah. Now, my experience, which is sort of why I mentioned Van der Valk and continental Europe and stuff like that in the 70s. You know, we never the descendants of Europeans who came during and after the war, or maybe before, during and after the war, the Second World War. By the 70s, really didn't have. There wasn't that sense of not having full access to everything British life had to offer. And that was the way it was. There'd been progress by that time. I'm guessing not that I know much or anything about the day-to-day lives of black Americans. But I'm guessing since that time, similar developments have taken place. But yeah, I really remember the 70s. From the 70s onwards, no sense of that whatsoever. But for me, there is this sense of with having people, my parents were from different countries. There was that sense of having sort of part British, part continental Europe. My mum essentially was British. But yeah, having that sense of being of the influence of both Britain and continental Europe in the 70s, and for the most part of for quite a significant part of the 80s, you didn't even question that sort of stuff. So maybe that happened in Britain earlier for the people who came from Europe, continental Europe. But by the time I was growing up, there was no sense of that. So yeah. But looking at Van der Valk, it really does. The opening titles of Van der Valk. Well, the theme tune to Van der Valk and the edited introductory sequence to the TV series. It's good enough for me. Depiction of continental Europe during the 70s. And like I said, like I think I said in the last video, a real, sort of sense of belonging not only in Britain, but also in continental Europe if I was to go there. Certain parts of it, I'm sure. Even though I'm born and raised in Britain, but there is still that influence there. But yeah, so yeah, quite interesting listening to the Banana Boat song and Deo and by Harry Belafonte, and seeing just how and thinking just how dissatisfied they must have been with their lives back then, and how they idealised their, for want of a better phrase, mother continent. To have that type of thinking really does suggest a deep dissatisfaction with the lives where they were, sort of thing, which I thought was really interesting. But yeah, uh, yeah. Apart from that, nothing much going on. Uh, I'll get at night time now. I'll get uh, uh, aches and pains from the psychiatrist. That's just the way it is at the moment. Yeah, maybe a permanent feature, maybe a temporary feature. I don't know. But yeah. Apart from that, yeah. And the type of stuff that goes on uh, with the psychiatrist. But yeah, well, uh, that's psychiatrist for me. Um, but yeah, yeah. So don't know whether I'm going to watch the Cotton Club. Uh, uh, yeah, like I said, I wanted to watch. Wanted to see a range of black people. Uh, uh, you know, and I do remember that film was a really entertaining film. It had, like I said, Harry Belafonte's performance in that and his makeup is something to behold. It really is great entertainment. But yeah, thinking also of Barry Foster, the actor who played Van der Valk in the TV series, and his background in the armed forces around the 60s, 70s. There would have been a drinking culture with many of the actors, I'd have thought. No, maybe with him, nothing too major. But there was, that's how they socialised back then. I bet it would probably a great laugh. Yeah. But yeah, I remember in the opening sequence at least he does look like he did a good job on the TV series. But anyway, I've had breakfast, I've had lunch, a couple of sandwiches, was it? Oh no, I had some chili con carne and a ham sandwich with some crisps. Tonight I don't know what I'm going to have. It's going to be pie or salmon. Maybe pie. But then again, I had pie the other day, so I don't know. So yeah. I can't look it up. The film The Cotton Club apparently comes today. Like I said, I wanted to see a range of black faces there. A range of black faces rather than a limited range that I am presented with. So yeah, and even watching a bit of the film Harry Belafonte was in. It did provide the main entertainment of the day. But yeah, that was something else I was thinking. In the 70s, I think it was called the entertainment industry. And now they call it the creative industries. The creative industry. I don't know. Oh, also, I remember Dustin Hoffman doing an acceptance speech. He was awarded for something or other. I don't know when it was, but it could have been somewhere other than the Oscars. What I saw from the Oscars wasn't what I recalled. And what I recalled was he was really flowery with his language, theatrical with his language, and uh, uh, punctuated his words in sort of, in a bit of a transatlantic way, in a theatrical way. I don't know if he was ever in the theatre. So that may suggest that was an awards at an awards ceremony in Britain. I wouldn't know. I can't remember, but I do remember that. But yeah, we sort of got me thinking about, despite some of the actors who'd been in the armed forces and and would have socialised with booze being the predominant uh, 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 lower of inhibitions sort of thing to grease the wheels of confabulation. By the time of Hoffman's era, they sort of weren't of that influence directly. It was more, even though many actors early on had theatrical involvement, by later on, acting has sort of developed, I think. Even though I'm talking far too much about acting. But it was just a passing interest. Looking at Van der Valk and thinking around the culture actors at that time had, people in the entertainment industry at that time had, many people in the entertainment industry at that time had. And then by Hoffman's era, Hoffman's and Streep's era, Kramer versus Kramer, that had sort of changed, and not only, I think, people from Foster's era, they would socialise and and they would have their time when they engaged professionally in their work. I think actors later on sort of lived it more. I'm guessing. Maybe Hoffman was in the theatre. I don't know. But yeah, that he did. When I watched it, it did strike me as way over the top, and to my mind at the time, at the very least, a bit too lovey for my liking. But yeah, like I say, Crown vs. Crown, great film. But yeah, that Van der Valk, and yeah, I don't mind some American stuff, but the core influence for me, influences really have been British and Continental Europe. That was that was what constituted my formative years for a significant amount of time. But yeah, I don't know. The things you mull over on a Sunday. But yeah, quite interesting stuff. Anyway, what's about that? Yeah, an addendum to this video. When I was talking about Britain and continental Europe, it sort of implied there was a division, a significant division back then, but there wasn't. The atmosphere was Britain was European, a European country. And sure enough, it was. My guess is it probably still is. 80s, Thatcher comes along and she had an opinion of the continent that was shit. And what is it? Parochial. In terms of continental Europe. Not so much in terms of the United States. which he cozies up to. Now, in the 70s and the early 80s, of course, there were American films and TV series. But really, the atmosphere in this country was European. We went to see films and at the cinema, often American, and the British films didn't really do entertainment that well. The Americans have blockbusters and stuff like that. The British films didn't tend to compete with. My initial recollections imply. But yeah, and another thing. Me saying my mum was essentially British. My dad, he said Britain was the best country in the world. He really made this his own and sort of, and he really, this was his country. This was his home, Britain, and Britain as part of Europe. Like, I'd guess, and I don't know, my mum maybe was more British in her outlook. But yeah, great atmosphere. I looked up some things about the 80s, and the 80s just didn't compete with the 70s by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, going back to I think it was the 80s. I think the speech I referred to in the previous segment of this video, made by Dustin Hoffman, the acceptance speech, at I'm guessing, British Awards event. I'm pretty sure that he did a stint on the West End, which was Britain's theatrical centre, where they had most of their theatres. At that time, don't know if that's still the case. But I'm guessing from how lovey he was, how he was so much of a lovey in the speech, and his how he spoke, sort of suggests a stint at the theatre in Britain. Which sort of is after he'd won an Oscar, or Oscars if it came after apparently the 2 Oscars he won. I guess no, it was after the first Oscar that he won. It's a sort of, I suppose, maybe an ambition with some of them to, act where the theatre, maybe at that time, was sort of most valued. But really, in the previous segment to this video, I sort of implied that Britain in the 70s, there was some sort of significant difference between Britain and Europe. Britain was essentially European at that time, and that was the atmosphere here, and that's the sense I had, at least. Not only here, but they're carried with me. I'd guess, despite Thatcher, that in many ways we're still sort of a European country as well, Britain. That's what I guess. Look, films and that, maybe. The Americans are better at entertainment in that respect. And entertaining cinema and blockbusters, and their cinemas developed further than Britain's has. Uh, that being, a major industry in that country. Yeah, since I don't know. I don't know whether I still feel European. That's what made a significant part of my earlier life was, and really quite a part of my life, if not now. But yeah. Yeah. So what am I going to do tonight? I'm going to eat, brush my teeth, uh, watch the opening sequence, listen to the theme tune of Van der Valk, maybe the score to Kramer versus Kramer that I like as well. While I wait for stuff to do, wait for inspiration for stuff to do. Yeah. But yeah. Oh. So yeah. Hmm. So that's what I'll do.